Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, August 7th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. A couple of quick clarifications. First off, this candlestick that you see there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, TUP, has been the talk of the town and has made another big move today. Although never really, it just simply didn't push up through those previous highs. And I want to get this trend line in place here because when you consider this trend line here, let's try that again here. You can see, let me bring that down. There we go. But by connecting that point and that point, look at the power of charts. Did a fantastic job of forecasting that problem area. And then right here was not as clean as there was two fake breakouts. But then after that, the price went right back to acting as resistance right there. So point being, moving into next week, that trend line there is going to be the big battleground that will need to not necessarily be broken, but maintained above. And I say that because, as a reminder, twice the price did break above that level. But both situations, momentum was not able to maintain itself, and that's why the price failed. So it's a two-step process. Yes, first got to get above that level, but then you've got to be able to maintain and stay above that area. So watch that trend line there as that main breakout point. As far as levels of support are concerned, you have this purple line right there, the 50 period moving average, right now valued at about $4.50. If that level doesn't quite hold, then the next key level to watch closely would be down there right around $4.25. But in my opinion, at least, I think the most interesting dynamic and the dynamic that most people are going to be watching is all about that trend line there. And again, not necessarily if the price can break above it, but can the price break above it and then build upon that momentum. Next one here, ticker symbol MF. Very, very nice pattern here that has taken place. So let's get this mapped out. And let me be very clear, as I draw this pattern, I'm not trying to imply this is a great discovery on my part and that, I'm the only person that's seen any of this. The exact opposite. So a lot of people, you got to think, are watching that $2.40 mark. And then on the flip side of the pattern, you have this nicely established trend line right there. So let me change that to green to represent more so a support area. And then maybe to make it easier to see. And this is, again, why I like to do these when the market's open. You can see right here, candles moving around quite a bit. So good, solid final 30 minutes here for MF as the volume pours in. But as far as this pattern is concerned, let's keep it one color. So we have our resistance. We have our support. We have the big move up right there. For you golfers out there, let's put a golf flow down here. And this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So while nothing is guaranteed, is it valid? Is it plausible to think, even if you want to just call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, that if the price comes up here and breaks up above that pattern that you got to think a lot of people are watching, could that break in and of itself create additional buying pressure? That is absolutely not a guarantee, but a more than plausible situation. So if you like stocks down below $5, you like bull pennant patterns, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, AAOI, and same general idea here as far as the pattern. So this is not a great discovery on my part. You got to think that a lot of people have noticed this area right up here at about $11.40. Well, let me bring that down. Yeah, about $11.40 as that main area of resistance. And then as far as supports are concerned, you have this nice little support zone right there at about $10.30. And then just to keep it the same color, make the pattern hopefully easier to see, resistance, support, big move up here. Now, some may still call this a bull pennant. I'm going to go ahead and call it a bull flag, but there's no need to get down into that. There's no need to have a fist fight over, no, that's a bull pennant, no, that's a bull flag. Let's just all agree that the price has made a huge explosion up and is now doing some consolidating, which leads to the question of, okay, who is ultimately going to win out of this consolidation? Are the bulls going to win out with a break to the upside? Or are the bears going to win by pushing it to the downside? That'll be the main question. But because this is a bull pennant, while it doesn't guarantee anything, you do have to at least give the edge to the bulls. But again, that's not a guarantee. It's just more of a what's more likely than not to happen. And in my opinion, when these bull flags happen, you want to err more so on the side of the bulls' favor. So keep that in mind. But that's also why risk management matters, because nobody's going to always be right. There's not going to be a bull flag that always breaks out. If only it were that easy. Next one here, TTOO, did this one in yesterday's video and talked about this as a big pattern. But yeah, you can see this morning, price broke down below that level right there. And then just as a classic example of the support then going and behaving as resistance. So that level has been broken. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that level because in my opinion, the better level of resistance to use is just to continue to extend this resistance trend line out right there. So what makes this very interesting now headed into next week is the price is currently sitting right there at that purple line, which on my chart denotes a very well-known, the very famous 50-period moving average. So now it's just a question of, okay, can this level hold as support? If that answer is yes, and it starts to bounce, well, then that leads into the next question. Okay, fine, but now can the price bounce with enough strength to get up through that trend line? That'll be another question you'll want to ask. As far as if the price does not hold above here and continues to drop, at that point, things get pretty sketchy because really the next level of support, not until down there, the pink line, 200-period moving average. Now, that doesn't mean that if that level fails, it's going to drop straight down to there. I'm just saying that, technically speaking, there's kind of a big area of just no man's land here that opens up the chart quite a bit. But yes, all eyes going to be on that purple line there, 50-period moving average. So we'll see if it can hold strong or not. Next level here, NKLA. And speaking of very, very important levels, as I speak right now, you can see the price is slightly below that pink line, but it's still well within the range of it. And that pink line, as I said, is the 200-period moving average. Very, very important level. And that's where the big question mark is going to come into play. Can the price get the bounce there, or is the price going to continue to separate? And the further the price, and I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price does continue to separate further and further, then that just represents the bears gaining more and more control. Now, from the big picture of things, you can see the trend is still very much so in the upwards direction. But the big dynamic here is that you can see for the first time in a very long time, the price is actually now down below that pink line. Again, is that like a massive break? It's not, but you can see the previous times the price has bounced very nicely off that level. So that is why I say from a charting standpoint, what happens with this pink line, in my opinion, is going to be very, very important moving forward. If the price does start to bounce, the next key level of resistance will be the purple line up there, which you now know is the 50-period moving average. But as of right now, yeah, all eyes on that 200-period moving average. So we'll see if the price can stay above it or not. Real quick, wanted to pause and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live online class. Next one here is AMC, and overall, a quality day. Now, I realize that, depending on your standpoint, meaning if you're a day trader and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, yes, from that angle, things look pretty rough because, sure, the price did pull back. But from somebody that cares about more so a bigger picture point of view, you'd be asking yourself, well, what happened before this pullback? And the price had a nice little move right there. So in a very miniature sense, you have yourself a nice little miniature bull flag pattern. So like I said, it's all about perspective and what your angle was going in. As far as levels of resistance moving into next week, key level now to watch, at least in my opinion, right up there at that level, which sits at about $5.07. And then as far as areas of support are concerned, the two main levels, which you've heard me talk about already quite a bit within the watch list. First level, purple line there, 50-period moving average. And then from the overarching level, right down there, that pink line, 200-period moving average, which if you remember from NKLA was the one that was doing battle with it. So you can see it's approached it before, and right there did a fantastic job of, didn't hit it exactly, but close enough and getting the bounce up upwards. So if the price does pull back some more, like I said, those would be the two main levels of support, with 507, that main level of resistance. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and crazy day when you stop and think that during that opening 30 minutes, this was one big green candle. The price had gotten up to that point, and then all of a sudden that big green candle turned into this nasty candle, a little bit of a dead cat bounce, and then just completely rolled back over today. So a crazy day. Now, to be fair to Tesla, the entire market's had a pretty crazy day. But yeah, just a rough looking chart here. And with the price now back below that 255.50 mark, that brings up the just basic rule in charting. When levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So on any sort of bounce, 255.50 will be that main level to watch. I'll go ahead and get rid of that level. In terms of areas of support now, the main level definitely going to be down here that a lot of people are watching at the 251 mark, which you can see is right from where the price, found a bid several days ago or earlier on in the week. So, for those of you that like to play potential double bottoms, that's a very valid question. If the price comes down here, do you get some sort of double bottom bounce? Of course, there's no guarantees, but it's certainly a valid thought on your part. Nobody could accuse you of doing something random. I would say, oh, I totally see you're trying to play a double bottom. Now, whether or not a double bottom happens, that's why risk management matters, but that is certainly a valid way to look at it too. But yeah, overall, rough day here for Tesla. Next one here, FUBO, and overall, let me put it this way, very difficult chart to talk about from where I sit presentation wise, because yes, if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought this morning and that gap up and your plan was to buy and sell within, 15 minutes, from that standpoint, the chart looks absolutely terrible. Now, if you care about the bigger picture of things, yes, today, no doubt about it, there was a very big pullback here. But just for example's sake, and I'm not saying this will occur, but let's say the price comes down here to right on that previous low, if you even want to call it that pink line there, and does something like this, where the price comes down here, bottoms around, then curls back up. Now, question becomes, well, what do we have here? Well, you'd have a set of lows at that area. You'd have sets of lows there, and then you can't see it behind my ugly mug, but there you'd have another set of low right there. And if you envision each of these as stair steps, what do you have? Well, from, again, emphasis on big picture, from the big picture standpoint, you'd still very clearly have stair steps making progress in the upwards direction. And that's what a truly strong move is going to do. It's going to make progress. Again, I fully understand if you're a day trader and you bought right there, you don't care about these stair steps. But that's why I'm trying to distinguish between more of a day trader, scalper, or somebody that cares about the bigger picture point of view. So yes, today, terrible day. But think about that word, today, as in one day. Looking at multiple days as we're doing here, you can see those stair steps do still have the chance to continue on in the upwards direction. Next one here, NIO, and overall, a deceitful opening day like a lot of these had with a gap up, and then the price just completely came back downwards. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that line for now and just use this as our main area of resistance, which again, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So if there is any sort of bounce back in the upwards direction, 1525 there will be that main area of resistance to watch. And in fact, in the very near term, before you even really put too much focus on 1525, price is first going to need to break above that purple line there, 50 period moving average. As far as levels of support are concerned, first key level to watch going into next week right down there at 1450. And then if things get really crazy, next key level of support down there at the $14 mark. So you'll want to keep an eye on those couple levels from the support standpoint, assuming this downwards move, continues on down. But again, from the bigger picture point of view, I mean, this is still a nasty pullback for sure, but I'll draw this in very crudely. So yeah, you still do have this pullback here, but if you ask yourself, well, what was going on before the pullback? You had that big move up right there. So a bad looking bull flag, but still a bad meaning my drawing. So I have to try to redeem myself. There we go. That's better. So there you can see from the bigger picture, what you really still have is just a bull flag. Next one, TQQQ. And this is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to go up, this one will also go up. It just allows you access at a much lower price point, which makes it a very popular ETF. And because the NASDAQ did have a pretty crazy day and a bad day, this one also did. But, I'm going to turn this into a quick plug for that class that I talked about, the power of charts. Look at where the price happened to get rejected and roll over. What a coincidence, right at that purple line, which you now know is that 50 period moving average. Again, are charts perfect? No, nothing is perfect, but are they a valuable tool? Absolutely. So definitely go get signed up for that free class so you can learn more about just, why and how they're so powerful. But more of the story here, in fact, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that level because as I've said already, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So in the very near term, 4160 is now going to be that key level of resistance. But from the overarching standpoint, if the price does start to bounce and is able to get above that level, then as we've already talked about, that purple line has proven now to be a pretty stubborn and important level of resistance. So you'll want to also keep an eye on that. In terms of levels of support, nothing too fancy or complicated here, right down there at the $41 mark. If you go through the, let's change that. If you go through the history of things, you can see that price was down here a couple days ago, found support, and then once again during the last 30 minutes has seemingly, at least for now, found some support. So that'll be a big question mark. Is there some sort of double bottom here that's going to form? That remains to be seen. But yeah, definitely a rough day here for the NASDAQ. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to go get signed up for that free class for next week. It'll be Thursday, August 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, first off, thank you very much. The likes and comments have been great on these recently. So please keep that up. It keeps me motivated, keeps me wanting to do this stuff. So if you do enjoy these top 10 lists, hit the like button and leave a basic comment. Say hi, give me a ticker symbol that you traded today, or there's something that you're watching next week. But those two things really do help out, and I appreciate it, and I thank you in advance for it. So go get signed up for that free class. Hit the like button, leave a comment below. Have a great weekend.